In this video, we're going to go through Anglo-Chinese School Primary 2024 Primary 6 Preliminary Exam Mathematics Paper 2. So let's get started on the first question. Which column can the number 100 be found in the table below? So you see over here you have A, right? Column A with 1, and then column B with blank space, column C with 2, D, E, and F, so forth. Okay, so you see there's 1, and C is 2, 3 is E, 4, 5, 6, continue, 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 and the last number is 12. So that means if this is 12, the next number should be over here, which is 13. So that means if I were to just here plus 12, that means it's 13, and then this would then be 14, right? 2 plus 12, and then so forth and so on. So we know that plus 12 is the increasing number, right? In this case over here. So that means if I were to get, for example, 24, right? That means I'll probably have 24 divided by 12, which gives us 0. Okay, so that means in this case, f over here will get 12 as the remainder, right? Plus 12, right? Over here. Okay, so if I want to get 23 divided by 12, okay, so that means it will go to 11, right? This will be 1 remainder 11 in this case over here. So basically we need to have everything be divided by 12. So in this case over here, 100, right? 100, right? We divided by 12, okay? So essentially all of these numbers are remainders except for 12, right? So if remain, so basically have number divide by 12. If remainder, right, in this case is 0, that means it's 12. Otherwise, it's the remainder is the number in the table. Okay. So for example, so in this example over here, right? So example, so this is the example, E dot G, right? Dot dot dot. Example, right? So we have not 100 lah, but 11, 23 divided by 12 is one remainder 1. That means 23 will be in number 11. Okay, all right, so with that said, okay, so this is plus 12, right? Makes sense. Okay, so now with that said, for that, so 100 we divided by 12. Okay, what would this become? So if I were to go to my calculator, right? So 100 divided by 12, this will give us 8. But what is the remainder? Okay, 8, right? So that means if I were to have 12 times 8, right? If you see over here, 100 minus 8 times 12, this means it's remainder 4. Remainder 4. Okay, so in this case over here, remainder 11, right? Let me just put this a bit here. Let's see if this, okay. So that means 100 will be in number 4, which means it is in column B. Okay, so that's the answer. The answer is column B. Oops. Okay, B. B. All right, let's move on to the next question. Question number 2. So a 2-meter wide path was built around a square garden ABCD as shown below. The area of the shaded path is 56 meters square. What's the area of the square garden ABCD? So basically the non-shaded part. Okay, so we know that 2 meters is this thing over here. Okay, so what we know here is, so you can see over here, I'm going to put in red that this whole thing is 2 meters. Okay, it's a bit hard to see if yellow is a better color, right? 2 meters in this case over here. Okay, so since this is a square, right? That means this is also 2 meters as well. Okay, in this right? So this is 2 meters, then this is also 2 meters over here. Okay, so that means also that this whole thing is also 2 meters, right? So we have individually uh, 4 of these little squares. Okay, we have 1, 2, okay, and then 3 over here, and then 4 over here. Okay, so in this case, maybe I'll make this a bit more, right? 2 meters, 2 meters, 2 meters. So that means this is also 2 meters, right? This one over here is 2 meters. So that means this is also 2 meters. So once we are able to get this, okay, I'm going to draw another color, maybe blue, right? Then that means we can get this as well, right? This length, and then we can get the area. Okay, so from here, we know the total area. Okay, so uh, area, shaded area is equal to, so at the same time, we also have, let me put in a different color, this purple thing over here as well. So we have 1, we have 2, okay, we have 3. So let me just cancel this out first. We have 3, right? And 4 as well in this case. So I'm going to put 4 but without the thing over here. So shaded area is equal to 4 times small, what do you call this, squares, right? Plus, and then 4 times rectangles, right? That's what you see over here. So 4 plus small squares, let me see, okay, and plus 4 times rectangles. I'll put it here, right? So that means we just need to calculate uh, one small square area, which is equal to, in this case, 2 meters times 2 meters, right? In this case over here, right? 2 meters, okay, is equal to 2 times 2, which is equal to 4 meters, and then square. Okay, then we also know that the one rectangle area is equal to, so this is the length and the breadth lah. So I'll call this the breadth, make this color over here. So we know the breadth is this. So length times breadth. Okay. So the length is 2 meters and the breadth is this, like this. That's what you see over here. Okay. So now we know the shaded area is this. So that means, so did some changes is let 1 unit be breadth. So it's easier. 1 unit over here. So one rectangle area is 2 times 1 unit. So now we can just convert this into its own equation. So shaded area, as we know, is 56. So 56 equal to 4 times 4 squares. So 4 meters times 4 times 4, right? We have the brackets, okay, and then plus 4 times 2 units. So it is 4 times 2 units as well. Okay, so that means 56 is equal to 16 plus 8 units, right? So 56 minus 16. So 56 minus 16 is equal to 8 units. So 8 units equal to, in this case, is 40. And then 1 unit, okay, is equal to 40. And then divided by 8. And this will give us 5 centimeters, 5 meters, sorry. Okay, so now we know that 1 unit is 5 meters over here. Okay, so now the next thing is, so since 1 unit is, let's put here as 5 meters. That means this is also 5 meters, right? This, okay, and then we have it here as well. So this is 5 meters as well. Okay, that's what you see over here, right? So then area of what's this, square garden, right, is equal to 5 times 5, which is equal to 25 meters square. That's what you see over here. Okay, so there you go. So that's the answer to this question, which is 25 meters square. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Okay, question number 3 over here. It says Ahmad bought some book which cost an average of $26. Two of the book cost $46 and $34 respectively. The average cost of the remaining books was $22. Each of the statement below is either true, false, or not possible to tell from the information given. For each statement, put a tick to indicate your answer. So you have two statements over here. Ahmad bought more than 10 books, and two of the book cost an average of $24. I think we can solve the last one, which is two of the books cost an average of $24. So two of the books cost $46 and $34 respectively. So in this case, average is equal to uh, right 46. Oops, 46 plus 34, and then we can divide it by 2, right? Divide by 2. Okay, so 46 plus 34, we can use the calculator. 46 plus 34 is 80, and then we divide it by 2, and in this case this will be $40. Okay, so in this case the average itself is false, right? So I'm going to draw a rectangle for this so it's easier to see as what you see over here. Okay, so there you go. So the answer to this is false, right? Okay, so for this part, over here it says Ahmad bought more than 10 books. Okay, so that means we will do 10, right? So in this case we will just assume that Ahmad bought 10 books. Okay, so then books total is equal to 26 times 10, which is equal to $260. Okay, because the average is, in this case, cost an average book is $26. Okay, so then we can just have uh, remaining 8 books, right? Which is in this case equal to 260 minus 46 minus 34. Okay, so we know minus 46 minus 4 is 80. So 260. So this is dollars 100 lah, 80. Pretty straightforward. Now we want to get the average, which is equal to 180, and then we divide it by 8. Okay, and in this case, 180 divided by 8, that means $22.50. So it's equal to, in this case, $22.50. Okay, $22.50. So that means so from here where, okay, so that means he must less bought less than 10 books, right? So in this case this is false. Right, that's it. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 4. It says here in the figure below, ABC and ABE are identical isosceles triangle. Okay, so if ABC, ABE, right, are the same isosceles triangle. So A and F is parallel. So A and F is parallel to AB. Wait, sorry. A and F is parallel to BE. This case over here, and then AB is equal to AE, which is equal to BC. Okay, same isosceles triangle. BCA is 36 degrees. AEF is 85 degrees. So what is the angle AFE in this case over here? So I'm going to draw it red so it's easier to see as what you see over here. Okay. All right. So let's see what we can do first. Okay. So we know that these two, I would say, triangles are the same basically. They're both isosceles triangles. So this one, okay, and this one as well, right? So I'm going to draw another one in purple like this. So these two are the same as what you see over here. Okay, so what does that mean for us? So there are certain angles that are the same as well. So you see these are two of the same. So that means this I would say side angles, right? Not the big one. So that means for this, if this is 36, that means this one is also, right, in this case 36 degrees, right? So this is 36 degrees, so that means this is also 36 degrees, right? over here, and that means the other side is also 36 degrees in this case over here. Okay, so at the same time, control another thing is that we also have a trapezium, because these two, right, I'm gonna make this a bit larger. These two are parallel, right? A and B and E is parallel, so that means this whole thing is a trapezium. That's what I see over here. Okay, this thing and this plus this as well, right? Okay, so what that means is that we can get AFE, which is just 180 minus 85 minus 36. All right. So what I'm going to write here is BAE, right? Angle BAE is equal to, I'm going to write this down. Angle BAE in this case is equal to 36 degrees, right? Okay. Right. BAEB, sorry. This AEB. AEB is equal to 36 degrees, right? We also know that this AEF is 85, so that means angle AFE, right? The one that we're looking for. It's okay. So since ABDEF is a trapezium with parallel lines of A, F, and BE, adjacent angles 180. So that means degrees. So that means 180 degrees is equal to, right? In this case, AFE, FE, and then plus uh, FED, right? Angle FED, right? So in this case, like this. Okay, so that means um, angle FED in this case is equal to 85 plus 36, which is in this case, let me use the calculator, 85 plus 36. This will give us 1 to 1 degrees. So that means angle, right, angle AFE over here is equal to 180 minus 1 to 1. What would this give us? So 180 minus 1 to 1, 59 degrees. Oops. There you go. So that's the answer, 59 degrees. All right, let's move on to question number 5. May had some chocolates and lollipops in the ratio of 3 is to 4. Okay, so let's write down chalk is to lollipops. Right, this is 3 is to 4 at first. Okay, so after me ate 12 chocolates and bought 4 more lollipops, the ratio then became 3 is to 8. What was the total number of chocolates and lollipops May had in the end? Okay, so we're going to convert the ratio into units, right? So chocolate and lollipops before had 3 units and 4 units over here. So we're also going to add the changes. So in this case, we have minus 12 for chocolates. And then for lollipops, we have plus 4 in this case over here. Okay. So then the change in this case, right, it's right 3 units minus 12 is to, is to 4 units plus 4. Okay. So this is the change, right? And then we know that after the ratio, right, is this. After this is the ratio 3 is to 8. So we're going to use this thing called the everything changed concept, right? Okay, so oops, give me a rectangle. Everything changed. Okay, so with this over here, we want to in a way compare. So then after that, next step is to cross multiply, right? Which is basically for 3 units and 12. multiply by 8 over here. So I'm going to change this to red. And then 3 over here. Going to change this to green. Multiply to this. Right. So that is the whole concept over here. Okay. So, okay, I will say I'll just use the arrow to just cross multiply. And then we just x. And then this also x as well. In this case over here. Okay. So we just cross multiply. That's what I see over here. Can I bring this closer? Okay, whatever. Right, cross multiply. So that means this will be 8 times 3 units minus 12. Right, we're going to make sure that this is a bracket. And then equal to 3 times bracket 4 units plus 4. Okay, so always remember that when you multiply like this, you always have to multiply both, right, over here and over here as well. Okay, multiply for both, same goes here. Okay, so 3 times 4 units. Oops. So 3 times 4 units, and then 3 times 4 as well. Okay, so this will then become 8 times 3 units is 24 units, minus 8 times 12 is 96, which is also equal to 3 times 4 is equal to 12 units plus 3, 12. Okay, so in this case over here, we can say this is 12 units equal to 12 units, 12 plus 96, which is equal to, so you can use the calculator, right? 12 plus 96, this will be 108. 108. So 1 unit is equal to 108, and then be divided by 12, and this is equal to, so divide by 12, 9. Okay, so you got 1 unit as 9. Okay, so last one is we want to have the total number of chocolates and lollipops in the end. So in the end is this also. This whole thing is also, let me give an arrow, right? This is in the end. Okay, right? So that means in the end, okay, in the end is equal to 3 units minus 12, right? 3 units minus 12 plus 4 units plus 4. Okay, so 3 units is 3 times 9 minus 12 plus 4 times 9 plus 4. Okay, let's double check. 3 units minus 12, 4, 9. Okay, great. So I'm going to use the calculator. 3 times 9 minus 12 plus 4 times 9 plus 4. Okay, this will give us 55. Okay, there you go. So in the end, we have a total of 55 chocolates and lollipops. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Question number 6. Okay, so Julie had 5 times as many coins as Gavin at first. She gave 1/4 of her coins to Gavin. Then Gavin used 1/3 of his total coins. In the end, Julie had 189 coins more than Gavin. How many coins did Julie and Gavin had at first? Okay, so first we know that in terms of Julie, right, Julie and Gavin, right, so we know that Julie over here has 5 times as much as Gavin, right, 5 and 1. Okay, and then she gave away 1/4, and then Gavin used 1/3. Okay, so what would be a better way? So for me, I think is to get lowest common multiple of, right, of 5, 5, 4, and 3. Okay, so reason, I'm gonna also put the reason, uh, so we can divide, so we can create number of units that is easily dividable, dividable. That is even a word over here. Okay, so 5, 4, and 3, which is essentially just multiply to each other. 5 times 4 times 3, 60. Okay, 60. In this case over here. Right, so now from this, that means for Julie, we want to get 60. That means we will get, we multiply by 12 in this case, and this is also 12 as well. So that means this will be 60 units, 60 units, and this will be 12 units. Okay, so that's why. Okay, so now over here, right? Um, Julie, Julie is equal to 60 units, and then Gavin is equal to 12 units. Okay, all right. So she gave away one quarter of her coins. So Julie gave one quarter, which is equal to 60 times 1 over 4. Okay, so 60 times 1 divided by 4 is 15. So 15 units of coins. Right, give one quarter to Gavin. So Julie, remember this, Julie left is equal to 60 minus 15, which is equal to 45 units, right? 60 minus 15, 45 units. And then Gavin, uh, total is equal to 12 plus 15 is equal to 12 plus 15 equal to 27, right? 27. So he also used, so Gavin used one third of his total coins of his coins, which is equal to 27 times 1 over 3, which is, so multiplied by 1 over 3, 9 units, right? So that means Gavin left is equal to 27 minus 9, which is equal to 18 units. Okay, so from here, we know Gavin left, we know Julie left. So in the end, Julie had 189 more coins than Gavin. Okay, so in this case over here, so difference is equal to 189, and difference in units is equal to, we have Julie, right, 45 minus 18, and this will give us 27 units. In this case, so 27 units is equal to 189. So 1 unit is equal to 189 divided by 27. Okay, this will give us 7. All right, so the last part over here, let me just move this up. Okay, so last part over here is we want to get a total at first, which is this, right? 60 units. So total at first is equal to 60 plus 12, 12 is equal to 72 units. Okay, total units at first is this. So then 72 units is equal to 72 times 7, right? So times 72, this will give us 504. That's it. So the answer to this question is 504 coins. Right, let's move on to the next question. Question number 7. The bar graph below shows the number of potted plants owned by different families in a housing estate. Here's what you see over here. Okay, so what is the total number of potted plants in the housing estate? So we have to calculate all of the different potted plants. So I'm gonna draw all the lines, right? And then let's see if we get some. Okay, I've drawn the lines so that we can get the different numbers. So over here, we know this is 2. Let's see if black works. Okay, black works. This is 2. I'll put here. Okay, I think I'll just put here lah. Okay, because that is a bit hard to see. So we have 2 over here. Then for number of families with number of water plants, this is 5. Okay. Then for 3 over here, this is 7. So I'll put 7 over here. And then for 4, this will be 10. Okay, 10. And then for 5, this will be 7 as well. So I'm going to just do this. And last one, 3 as well. Okay, so now, what is the total number of potted plants in the housing estate? So we need to multiply all of this. Okay, so total is equal to, so number of families, 1, 1 times 2 plus 2 times 5 plus 3 times 7 plus 4 times 10 plus 5 times 7 plus 6 times 3. Okay, so this is the total. It's a lot. Okay, so you have 2 plus 10 plus 21 plus 40 plus 35 plus 18. Okay, we can do this in the whole calculator. So 1 times 2 plus 2 times 5 plus 3 times 7 plus 4 times 10. Oops, 10 plus 5 times 7. Okay, and then we have 6 times 3 plus 6 times 3. This is 126. Whew, okay, this is 126. Let's double confirm with our calculation. 2 plus 10 plus 21 plus 40 plus 35 plus 18. 126. Okay, there you go. So that's the answer. The answer to this question is 126 potted plants. Okay, let's move on to part B. What is the ratio of number of families with 3 or less potted plants to the number of families with more than 3 potted plants? Okay, so we have 2 and 5. So families with 3 or less families, okay, to the families with more than this ratio, right? Family with 3, more than 3. Okay, so over here we're going to just add them up. So we have 2, 5 and 7. So 2 plus 5 plus 7, okay, is 2. Then we have 10, 7 and 3. So 10 plus 7 is 3. Okay, and then from here, let me just make this in the middle. Okay, so from here we can say 2 plus 5 plus 7. This should be 14 is 2. 10 plus 7, 20. Okay, that means this is 7. Divided by 2. 7 is to 10. So there you go. That's the answer. Ta-da! Alright, so the answer to this is 7 is to 10. Okay, let's move on to, is there a next question? Okay, let's go to the next question. Question number 8. So in the figure below, ABE is an equilateral triangle. Alright, so I'm gonna put that down. A, B, E, oops, A, B, I want to put it here. Yeah, A, B, and E is a equilateral triangle, right? So ADF is a right angle triangle as well. ADF, okay, is 20 degrees, and BAF, this whole thing, let's make it red, is 98 degrees. This whole thing is 98 degrees. Okay, so find DCE. So DCE is this one. We were looking for this one. Okay, so over here, what we can do is, first, what we need to do is, I think what we can get is, we can have this angle. So I'm going to draw a different color. So this angle over here, right? Minus 98. And then we will get this angle in red. Okay. And since this whole thing, AEF, is also a right angle triangle, we can then use that to get this angle over here, right? So why we get this angle is because from here, we can get ABE, which is also this one, right? This is like 60 degrees, right? As what you see over here. And then since we can get this 60 degrees, then we can get this angle. I'm gonna put this purple. So once we get this purple angle, then we can have 180 minus this purple minus 20, and we get a DCE. Okay, so let's get started. So in this case, let's have angle. This should be EAF. EAF, right, is equal to 98 minus 60, right? 60. Okay, cause let me put the green color as well. This whole thing as well is, right, 60 degrees. Okay, so we get the red one, and this will be 38, right, degrees. So what we see over here. Okay, so this is 38. This should be in red. All right. So, okay, let me just put here. So 38. So then we can get the AEF. So angle AEF, AEF is equal to 180, right? Minus 90 minus 38, right? And this will give us, so it's basically 90 minus 38 should be 57. So 90 minus 38, sorry, is 52. Okay, so this will be 52 degrees. Okay, so now we know that this AEF over here is 52 degrees in yellow. Then we know that AEB is 60. Then we can get the purple, which is CED, right? So in this case, angle CED is equal to 180 again minus, no, sorry. Yes. 180 minus 60 minus 52, right? So it's a straight line, right? So 60 minus 52. And what will this give us? 120 minus 52. This will give us 68 degrees. 68 degrees. Okay, so this 68 degrees is the purple one. Okay, so this, once we get this purple one, then we can get our final one, which is let me put this in a different color, DCE, or yeah, angle DCE. Okay, angle DCE, DCE is equal to 180, right, minus 68 minus, over here is 20, right? So 180 minus 68 minus 20, and this will give us 92 degrees. That's what we see over here. There you go. So that's the answer. Okay, so the answer is 92 degrees. All right, let's move on to the next question. Oops, why is it so small? Okay, question number 9. Alright, so question 9 says here Sean left City A for City B traveling at a constant speed of 80 kilometers. At the same time, Yazid left City B. So Yazid from B to A at a constant speed of 60 kilometers. So Sean and or both of them pass each other at the 30 kilometers from the midpoint, somewhere here. What is the distance between City A and City B? So we know that they've met at 30 kilometers past the midpoint, right, towards City B. So that means Sean over here, which is basically the faster guy, right? Sean traveled more than 30 kilometers than Yazid over here. So in order, so the difference, right, um, distance travel is basically traveled is basically 30 plus 30, or 30 times 2, which is equal to 60 kilometers. Okay. Then we also want to get the relative speed of the distance, right? Which is be 80 minus 60, and this is 20 kilometers per hour. So the time that they traveled, so time is basically the difference, and we divide it by the relative speed, and this will become 3 hours. So that means they have traveled both in 3 hours over here. So with that said, we can combine their speed to get a total distance. So combine or yeah, combined speed is equal to 80 plus 60, which is equal to 140 kilometers per hour. Since they have the total time, so distance is equal to 140 times 3. And if you go to calculator, 140 multiplied by 3, this will be 420 kilometers. And that's it. So the answer to this is 420 kilometers. All right, so question number 10. Madam City bought 4p kg of beef at $7 per kg and 6p kg of chicken at $8 per kg for Hari Raya. Express the total amount she spent in terms of p. So for this, let's have the beef, which is equal to 4p, right, times $7, okay, which is equal to dollars 28p. And then for chicken, it's equal to what is it, 6p, okay, times $8, and this will be dollars 48p. Okay, so total will be 28p plus 48, yeah, 48p, and this will give us $76p in this case over here. So 6 times $8, not this one. Okay, so the answer to this is $76 p. Let's move on to part B. If p is 2, find the total amount. So total amount spent is equal to 76 times 2, which is equal to 76 multiplied by 2. This will give $152 over here. Okay, there you go. So that's the answer to this, $152. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Question 11. So the pie chart below shows the number of cars, motorcycles, and trucks in a car park. The ratio of trucks to the number of motorcycles is 5 is to 7. There are 48 cars in the car park. How many trucks are there in the car park? Okay, so we know that 2 out of 3 vehicles, right? Yeah, vehicles, right, is equal to 48. Okay, so not 58, 48. Okay, so that means one third vehicles is equal to 48 divided by 2, and this will give us 24. So we know that one third is left as well. So the ratio number of motorcycles, trucks to motorcycles is 5 and 7. So trucks plus motorcycles, cycles is equal to 5 plus 7, which is equal to 12 units. So 12 units equal to 24. 1 unit equal to 24. And then we divide it by 12, which is equal to 2. And then we know that trucks is equal to 5 units. So that means 5 units equal to 5 times 12. Sorry, 2 equal to 10. Right? So why do I put 6, 5? Okay, so the answer to this is 10. That's what I see over here. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Okay, the cars and trucks have 4 wheels, and each, while the motorcycles have 2 wheels each. Find the total number of wheels represented in the pie chart. Okay, so we know that trucks is 10, so I'm gonna write everything down. So cars is equal to 48, and trucks is equal to 10, and then we are left with motorcycle, which is 7 units. So I'm gonna put here motorcycles equal to 7 units. So 7 units is equal to who he huh 7 units is equal to 7 times 2, equal to 14, right? So now we know that motorcycles is 14. Okay, so I can just cancel this first. Okay, it's equal to 7 times 2, 14. So total wheels is equal to total. So 14 motorcycles times 2 plus 48 times 2 plus 10 times 2. Okay, this not times 2, 48 times 4. Okay, so 10 times 4 as well. Let's use our calculator. 14 multiplied by 2 plus 48 times 4 plus 10 times 4. This will give us 260 wheels according to this. So the answer is 260 wheels. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Question 12. Okay, at first, Sam had two-fifths as much money as Paul. Ian had 36 more dollars than Sam. After Paul gave $98 to Sam and some money to Ian, all three boys had the same amount of money. How much did they have all together? Okay, so what we can do is we can put the different people as different units. So Sam had two-fifths as much as money as Paul. That means in this case, Sam right, Sam is equal to 2 units, and then Paul is equal to 5 units. Okay, so Ian had $36 more than Sam, so Ian is equal to more than Sam, right? 2 units plus dollars 36. Okay, so now we know that after Paul gave $98 and some money to Ian, all three boys had the same amount of money. So what this means is that each boys equally get, which is basically that First, we get a total, right? So total is equal to 2 units plus 5 units plus 2 units plus 36, right? This will give us 9 units plus 36. Okay, so each boy is equally got. So 9 units plus 36, right? And then we split divided by, right? Divide by 3. Okay, got 3 boys. Okay, so that means 9 units divided by 3 plus 36. Yeah, 36 divided by 3 in this case over here. Okay, whoops. Right, so from this, okay, so divide by 3 is the same as, let me draw, oops, let me draw this, right? So divided by 3 must go to here and also must go to here as well. Oops, and here as well. Okay, right, so can never miss. Okay, then that means this will be 3 units plus 12 in this case. Okay, so now we know that Sam, what is this? Paul gave Sam, so Paul gave Sam in terms of money, which is dollars 98. So we also know that each boy equally got 3 units and 12. So Paul gives Sam in units, which is basically the before and after, right? Okay, so Sam before has 2 units, Sam after has 3 units plus 12. So that means the change or what Paul gave Sam in units. So after Paul gives Sam $90, this is whoops. Paul after Sam after Paul gave $98 is this. Okay, so that means Paul gives Sam in units is equal to 3 units plus 12 minus 2 units is equal to 1 unit plus 12. And we also know that Paul gives Sam $90. So that means 1 unit plus 12 is equal to $98. So 1 unit is equal to 98 minus 12, and this will give us 96. Sorry, $86. Okay. So now the question asks, how much did they have all together? Right, this one over here. So that means the total. Okay, so total is equal to 9 units plus 36. Okay, right, which is also equal to 9 times 86 plus 36. Okay, and this will give us, use your calculator. So 9 times 36, sorry, 9 times 86 plus 36, and we got $810. Okay, there you go. So that is your answer, $810. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Question number 13. The figure below is made of a big quarter circle, two small identical quarter circle, that's what you see over here, two small ones, and then and a square. The radius of the big quarter circle is 10 centimeters, and the radius of the small quarter circle is 5 centimeters. So find the area of the square. All right, so one thing to take note of is that in this case over here, we know that this is 5 centimeters, right? Okay, so this is 5 centimeters. Okay, so I'm going to put here 5 centimeters as well. Okay, so that means this is also 5 centimeters, right? So that means this is also 5 centimeters. So any point along the circle, it's always 5 centimeters. That's what you see over here. Okay, so now we know that this diagonal line in this square over here is 5 centimeters. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just draw a line first, like this. So this is 5 centimeters, right? Okay, and then if this is 5 centimeters, that means the opposite as well is also 5 centimeters. That's what you see over here, like this. Okay, because it's a square, right? So this will then become 5 centimeters as well, right? That means if you were to split a square into a box, as what you see over here, can you see something, right? Can you see something over here, right? This actually consists of four triangles and four right angle triangles. Okay, so from this, you can transform this into this, like this. Okay, so this four square over here, it becomes this four right angle triangles. Okay, so I'm gonna draw a little rectangle over here. Okay, so in essence, this whole thing becomes four right angle triangle, and we know that this over here is 5 centimeters. Okay, and that means this also is also 5 centimeters in this case over here, right? So I'm gonna draw a line with some dots like this. So this 5 centimeters, this is 5 centimeters. Okay, same goes to this one as well, right? 5 centimeters and 5 centimeters. Okay, therefore, okay, let me draw this a bit lower like this. Okay, 5 centimeters. Right, so that means, right, one right angle triangle. Well, let me not have this dotted line. So one right angle triangle is what you see over here. Okay, so what do you think? What's the length of this one single right? So we have this thing over here, right? Okay, so that means this is, oops, right? This is the length, base and height. Okay, that's what you see over here. So what do you think is the base and height for this small little one? Okay, so this is one small triangle and there are four small triangles in this one over here. So that means, okay, the base is equal to 5, right? And then we divide by 2. This will be 22.5 centimeters. Same and goes with the height as well, because the height is the same, right? Base and then the height is also the same. Height is also 2.5 centimeters. Okay, so we know that the base and height is 2.5 centimeters. So let's get the area. Area of one small triangle is equal to half times 2.5 times 2.5. Okay, and what would this give us? Let's use our calculator. So 1 half times 2.5 times 2.5. Okay, this will give you 3.125. Okay, so this will give us 3.125 centimeter square. Okay, so that means area of small four triangles, okay, is equal to 4 times 3.125, which is equal to times 4, 12.5 centimeter square. Okay, so in this case, that means, whoops, I don't know why. Oh yeah, so that means the area of this square. So I'm going to draw a line. Maybe I'll do this. Okay, yeah, it's much better. Okay, so from here, I think we can get the answer is 12.5 lah. There you go. That's the answer. So I'm just gonna write something small here that says area of square is equal to area of four small triangles, which is then equal to 12.5 centimeters square. Okay, there you go. So that's the answer, 12.5 centimeters square. Whew, all right. Okay, there you go. So that's the answer to this. Okay, so I just want to say, yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next question. All right, so let's move on to the next question. Find the total area of the shaded parts. That's what I see over here. Okay, so we know this. Okay, so let's get this over here. Okay, which is the quarter circle. Okay, so what did he call it? Yeah, quarter circle. So quarter, small, make this, okay, small quarter circle. Okay, area is equal to 1/4 times pi, and then times radius. Okay, so in this case, pi is 3.14, and then the radius for this is 5 centimeters. So times 5, and let's use our calculator. 1 divided by 4 multiplied by 3.14 times 5. Oops, times 5 times 5. This is 19.625. So 19.625 centimeters square. Okay, so I see over here. So this is a small one. At the same time, we also want to get these two shaded. So I would say two shaded external area. Sure, shaded external area is equal to 19.625. Okay, and then minus 12.5 in this case over here. Okay. So what is external shaded area is basically small quarter circle area minus square. Just gonna write like this. Okay, like this. Okay, so gonna use my calculator. Minus 12.5. This will give us 7.125 5 centimeter and then square. Okay, so then let's move to the next one, which is the big one, the big one. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy this whole thing, right? Okay, so small, this will be big quarter circle. So this big whole thing, and then quarter minus radius. So the radius is 10, right? So copy this whole thing, right? Times 10 times 10. And what will this give us? So 1/4 times 3.14 times 10 times 10, 78.5 centimeters square. All right. So now we got a big quarter. So total shaded is equal to this big quarter 78.5, and then plus the external one, which is this thing 7.125, then minus the two things, which is this 12.5 minus the small one 19.625 in this case over here. Okay, minus, right? So then let's use our calculator. Plus 7.125 minus 12.5 minus 19.625. It will give us 53.5 centimeter square. Okay, there you go. Right, so that's the answer, 53.5 centimeters square. Okay, let's move on to question 14. A rectangular tank 50 centimeters by 25 centimeters by 30 centimeters is separated by two compartments, P over here and Q by a plastic panel. That's what you see over here. Okay, what is the height of the water in the tank when the plastic panel is removed? Okay, so we can get this to, I would say, volume, and then we'll get the height itself. Okay, so from here, let's get water in P, right? P, which is equal to length times breadth times height. Okay, so in this case, the length is 10, the breadth is 25, and the height is 20. Oops, 20. Okay, let's calculate using our calculator. 10 times 25 times 20. This will give us 5,000 centimeter cube. Okay, so that's the water in P. So let's make this small so I can put in more stuff. Next one is water in what I call that Q. Okay, so I will say the length Q length is equal to 50 minus 10. Oops, 10 equal to 40 centimeter. So water in Q is length times breadth times height. So the length is 40, the breadth is 25, and the height is 5. Okay, let's do this. 40 multiply by 25 multiply by 5. This will give us, oh, same thing, 5,000. 40 times 25 times 5. Okay, this is 5,000 as well, centimeter cube. Okay, so that means this will be total water will be 5,000 plus 5,000 is equal to 10,000 centimeter cube. Right, so now we know that's the thing. So to get the height of water, we need to get the base area. So base area is equal to length times breadth. Okay, base area is equal to 50 times 25. Okay, 50 multiplied by 50 multiplied by 25, it will be 1250, okay, centimeter square. So height of water is equal to volume, volume, and then we divide it by base area, which is, this is 10,000, then divided by, oh, where's my divide by 1250. Okay, this will give us 80 if I'm not wrong, or 8. 10,000, 4 divided by 1250, 8. Here you go, 8 centimeters. So the answer to this is 8 centimeters. Make it big. There you go. So that's the answer. All right, let's move on to part B. He says here, how many more liters of water are needed to fill the tank to the brim after the plastic panel is removed? Okay, so we know that we have the total water volume, which is 10 centimeter cube. So we can get a total, total tank capacity or volume is equal to length times breadth times height. Okay, why I do this so I can refer this properly. So 50 times 25, 50 times 25, and then the height is 30. Okay, so what this will give us is 50 times 25 times 30. This will give us 37,500, 37,500 centimeter cube. Okay, so how many liters? So you see the word liters, right? So water needed to fill is equal to 37,500 minus 10,000. Okay, this will become 27,500 centimeter cube, which is also equal to 27.5 liters. Okay, so you can have minus 10,000 and then divide by 1,000, 27.5 liters. That's what I see over here. Okay, there you go. So that's the answer. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Question 15. Okay, it says here machine A and machine B had the same mass of biscuits to be packed into identical boxes. That's what I see over here. So the machine started packing at 2 p.m. The table below shows the number of boxes packed by each machine and the remaining mass of biscuits after 15 minutes. So part A says, what was the mass of biscuits in each box? Give your answer in kilograms. So actually, we can know what's the mass of biscuits in each box. So we know that 250 and 245, and we know 700 grams as 1.5 kilograms. So basically, we can get a difference. So difference in boxes, number of boxes, oops, is equal to 250 minus 245, and this will give us 5 boxes. Then difference in mass of biscuits is equal to 1.5. Okay, so this is in kilograms, so I'm going to convert 700. So 700 grams is equal to 0.7 kilograms. Okay, so 1.5 minus 0.7. Okay, this will give us 0.8 kilograms. So that means 5 boxes is equal to 0.8 kilograms. So one box is equal to 0.8, and then we divide it by 5. Okay, so in this case, 0.8 divided by 5, 0.16, 0.16 kilograms in this case over here. There you go, that's your answer. EP. Let's move on to part B. At 2:15 p.m., machine B broke down, sad life. And all the remaining biscuits were packed by machine A. After packing the maximum boxes possible, how many grams of biscuits were left at the end? Okay, so we need to just add the remaining mass in this case. Um, So 701.5. Okay, so remaining is equal to 1.5 plus 0.7 is equal to 2.2 kilograms. So this is the remaining. And then we need to pack them up. So max boxes is equal to 2.2, and then we divide it by 0.16. Okay, so let's do the calculation. 2.2 and then divided by 0.16. This will give us 13.75 boxes, right? So we have to, in a way, what do you call this? Uh, yeah, round up to 13 boxes, right? In this case over here. So that means, what do you call this? Mass of biscuits boxed is equal to 13. 13 times 0.16. Okay, and let's use the calculator. 13 times 0.16, 2.08 kg. So remaining biscuits mass of biscuits unboxed is equal to 2.2 minus 2.08. This will give us 0.12 if I'm not wrong. Okay, 2.2 minus 2.08. This will give us 0.12 kilograms. There you go. That's the answer, 0.12 kilograms. Okay, let's move on to how many grams? Sorry. So this will then become um, 120 grams. So the answer is 120 grams. Read your questions, guys. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Question number 16. We're almost there. In the figure below, ACKL is a parallelogram. ACGH is a rectangle, and ADE is an isosceles triangle. ADE is an isosceles. So I'm going to put this one here and then this one here. Okay, so KIF is a straight line. Guess what you see over here? So make it this really clear so that we can see together. Kite. Okay, then we know that AD is equal to AE. So this is the parallel lines. That's what you see over here. So this parallel. And then ADE is 75 degrees. EBK is 102 degrees. And CFK is 93 degrees. Wow, that's lots. Okay, so find LAJ. That's what I see over here. All right. So first thing is that if you're able to get this angle, whoops, let me. So if you can get this angle, then we can get this angle over here. Okay. Then from here we can get 102 with this angle. Then we can get this angle over here. Then we can minus because this is a parallelogram. So that means this whole what do you call this angles over here is 180. We minus this is a 90 degrees. Okay. So let me just show you. All right. So we know this is 90. Okay. That's what we see over here. So we need to get this angle so that we can get this whole angle, right? Okay, so how do we get this angle? First, what we need to do is we know that this over here is 75 degrees. Okay, whoop, whoop, 75 and then degrees. Okay, so that means we will be able to get this angle. Okay, because once we get this angle, then we know that this is also 102 degrees. Okay, 102 degrees, like this. So I'm gonna make this a little bit small so at least you can fit like this. Okay, so 102 degrees. Okay, so once we get this angle, we can get this. I'm gonna make it red so it's a little bit more obvious. Okay, so let's begin. We should find CAB, right? So angle, right? CAB is equal to 180 minus 75 minus 75, and this will give us 30 degrees. Oops, that's what I say over here, right? CAB. Okay, so now we know that CAB is 30 degrees. So I'm gonna put this over here. All right, so this is 30 degrees. Then the next thing is, we know that what is this? Angle ABC. Right, ABC is equal to, so this angle, okay, is equal to K. What is it? EBK. Right, I'm gonna write there. EBK. Okay, and that means it's 102 degrees. Okay, so that means angle ACB is equal to 180 minus 102 minus 30. Okay, and this will give us, let's use the calculator, 180 minus 102 minus 30. This will give us 48 degrees. Okay, and then once we know ACB, which is 40 degrees over here, okay, 48, then we can get the angle here was the LAJ, right? So angle, right, in this case, LAJ is equal to 180, right, minus 90 minus 48. Okay, and this will give us 42 degrees. Ooh, what is that? Okay, 42, right, degrees. So I see over here. All right, so LJ is 42 degrees in this case. And yep, that's about it. Okay, let's move on to part B. So part B says find JKI. So JKI is this thing over here. Okay, so in order for us to get this angle, I'm going to draw a different color. Basically, if you were to look at it, there is a triangle over here. So 1 point, 2 points, and then after that, the last point, which is this one. So I'm going to cut through like this. Okay, so at the same time, we know that this whole rectangle thing, right? This whole thing is a rectangle. So that means this is a right angle. That's why it's over here. So I'm gonna draw slightly like this. Okay, so that means we can get this angle. So in this case, angle is KCF. So I'll write this out. So K angle, right? Angle KFC, no lah, KCF, hungry, equal, equal to 90 minus 48 in this case. So that means this is equal to 42 degrees. That's what you see over here. Okay, so we know that this angle, I'm gonna write, put it, oh, no. So this angle over here will be, in this case, 42 degrees. Okay, I'm gonna put this in purple. All right, so now we also know that this angle is 93 degrees. So we can find the final one, which is angle JKI. So angle, right, JKI. So since, literally KFC is a triangle, then angle JKI, right, which is equal to 180 minus 42 minus 93. Okay, so let's use our calculator. 180 minus 42 minus 93. Okay, this gives us 45 degrees. There you go. And that's the answer. So the answer is 45 degrees. Okay, not in purple, but in black. Okay, let's move on to the last question. Okay, it says here, that's a long question. Andy and Betty had 864 stamps altogether. Andy gave Betty, so question 17, Andy and Betty had 864 stamps altogether. Andy gave Betty some of his stamps, and Betty's stamps increased by 60%. So in return, Betty gave Andy some of her stamps, and Andy's stamps increased by 30%. Then Andy gave some of his stamps to Betty, and Betty's stamps increased by 80%. In the end, each of them had an equal number of stamps. Damn, find the percentage increase in the number of Betty's stamp. So it's a internal transfer kind of thing. Okay, so for this, we're just gonna work backwards. Okay, so nothing special to be honest for this. Okay, so first is we need to go from the end over here. So in the end, each of them had an equal number of stems, and we know that altogether they have 864, and they didn't give anything. So in this case, what you can do is, in the end, they both each got, in this case, it's 64, and then we divide it by 2, and this will give us. So let's calculate. It's 64 divided by 2, 432. Okay, right. They both each got 432. Okay, so now let's move on. There's a lot of transfers. So we'll start with the first one. Let me make it blue over here. Okay, so blue. So there's three transfers. The first, second, and third. So we work from the third one. So I'm going to write here third transfer. In this case over here, the third transfer. This. Okay. All right, and then okay, third transfer. Okay, so we're gonna work backwards. So third transfer. So over here, we know that Betty stems increased by 80%. So in this case, uh, Betty is 180% and 100%. Okay, which also means that it is also 432 stems as well. So when we go to Betty 100%, okay, that means this will become 432, and then we divide by 180 and then times 100. Okay, so we use our calculator over here. So divided by 180 and then multiply by 100. Okay, and this will give us 240. So Betty at first got 240, so we can get the difference. Okay, so Betty received from Andy is equal to 432, right? And then minus 240, and this will give us, so 432 minus 240, this is equal to 192. In this here, Betty received from Andy 192. Okay, and since Andy gave 192, that means he lost. So when we do reverse, we actually add. So Andy amount in the third transfer, right, is equal to 432 plus 192. Okay, so what would this become? Plus 432, 624, 624. Okay, so and the amount in the third transfer got 624 in this case over here. Okay, so this is the first part. Okay, let's move on to the second transfer. So Betty received, okay, yep. So next one, let's make it red lah. Okay, so red over here, it says in return Betty gave Andy some of her stamps. Okay, I'm gonna whoop, and then stamps in Andy's stamps by 30% over here. Okay, so it's the black. So this will be the second transfer. So I'm gonna put here second transfer. Right. So from here, still nothing special, honestly. Okay. So this will then be just red. Okay. So, oh, oops. For the second transfer, that means ND increased by 30%. So ND got 130%, and this is equal to, in this case, 624, right? Okay, so same thing also, ND 100% is equal to 624, and then we divide it by 130 times 100, and what will this give us? Divided by 130 times 100, this will give us 480. Okay, so that means Andy, he received from Betty, right? So Andy received from Betty, in this case, which is equal to, so Andy received 624, okay, minus 480. Okay, and this is equal to, so 624 minus 480, this will become 144. Okay, so now with this Betty amount in the second transfer, okay, is this one, right? Betty got 240, which is got 240 plus what do you call this, 144, and this is, we can calculate it, 384. Okay, so this is the second transfer in this case over here. Okay, I'm gonna put this as red. Okay, and then from here we can go on. Oops, let me just move all of this over here. Okay, so from here we can move to the first transfer. So first transfer, I'm gonna make this green. Okay, so Shift D, and he gave Betty some of his stamps, and Betty's stamps increased by 60%. Okay, so for this is the first transfer. Okay, so this one, I'm gonna make this green as well as over here. So in this case, the first transfer, I'm gonna make an arrow so at least easier. Wow. Okay, so the first transfer over here. Okay, wow, okay. Like this. Okay, so for the first transfer, why does it cross like this? Okay, so for the first transfer, um and the Betty's time increased by 60%. So it's the same as what we see over here, right? So Betty increased by 60%. Okay, so Betty is 160%, and what did she get? 384. So it's 384. And then what's Betty's 100%, which is equal to, I'm going to put it down here, 38, no, 384. Okay, and then divided by, so 384, okay, divided by 160 times 100. So 384 divided by 160 times 100. This will give us the, 240 again. Okay, all right. So then from here, we know that her initial one. So Betty had first got 240, and Betty in the end got 432. So that means Betty increase is equal to 432 minus 240, which is equal to, okay, so 432 minus 240, right, which is equal to 192. Okay, so that means Betty, uh so we know Betty at first, so 100%, okay, is equal to 240, right? So 190, 240, sorry, 240, right, is equal to 100%. So that means 192, or I would say Betty increase in percentage. All right, Betty increase in percentage is equal to 192, and then divided by 240 times 100%. Okay, so we go divide by 240, okay, and then times 100. Okay, and this will give us 80%. So the answer to this is 80% over here. There you go. So that's the answer to this question. Yes. All right. So that's about it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want more this kind of video, subscribe down below and comment down what other papers you want me to go through next. See you in the next one. Bye bye.